Hi everyone, so we are from group 1. So we will discuss and present our discussion about the field of curriculum. Next. So we have Mbak Adriana Ayu, and we also have Mbak Mia Draina, and we also have Mbak Alfian Nurahma, and me, Jana Limaranto. Okay, so let's discuss about curriculum approaches. So there are 6 curriculum approaches. The first one is behavioral approach. The second one is managerial approach, and the third one is system approach. And next, and the fourth one, we have academic approach. And the next one, humanistic approach. And the last one is postmodern approach. So in this section, we are going to know the curriculum approaches, backgrounds, and the major tenets, and also the strengths and weaknesses. So we start from the first curriculum approach, which is behavioral approach. So this approach is dominant approach and has been applied in 1920, and it is developed by Franklin Bobbitt. Franklin Bobbitt is one of the first American educators who developed behavioral approach. And in behavioral approach, the major tenets is technical or scientific and objective methods because it relies it focuses on observable changes of behavior. Franklin Hobbit, he believed that the learning objectives together with the activities should be grouped and sequenced after clarifying the instructional activities and tasks. So this shows about the observable process. But behavioral approach has a disadvantage, which is too rigid because the blueprint or document should be sequenced and evaluated. And then the next one, we have managerial approach. So in managerial approach, it is proposed by Frederick Taylor because this approach became the dominant curriculum approach in the 1950s and 1960s, and then it becomes the curriculum leader. And besides that, it relies on scientific management because it focuses on clarity goals and division of labor, which help develop the schools or communities' education goals and behavioral objectives. But this approach is less concerned about subject matter, methods, and materials. And moreover, this approach also is not provided any rooms for conversation, and the goals are set and not negotiable. That's why in managerial approach, we focuses more on clarity goals and division of labor. And then the next one, we have systematic approach. So this approach is designed for curriculum engineering, which apply system approach known as total quality management, or we call it as a TQM, and then which it is purposes to improve the system which people work. And then the strength of this approach is focusing on curriculum specialists who value the system approach, and holistic approach, which emphasize more about the product approach and the process. But this approach have two disadvantages, which are too rigid and cumbersome and long-term planning. And then we also have academic approach. So academic approach, it became popular in 1930s and carried through the 1950s. And the discussion of this approach tends historical or philosophical. And then the major tenets that is used in academic approach is more on the knowledge-oriented approach because it is focuses more in integrating various of instruction of teaching and core competencies. But there is there is some disadvantages because the foundation topics are sociology and historical in academic approach. And even there are several foundation topics that are political. And then the next one, we have humanistic approach. So humanistic approach, it became popular in 1920s and 1930s. And then this major tenets, it focuses more in practical application models rather than the theory. And then the strength of this approach is focuses more in human dignity because this approach also using use bottom-up approach instead of top-down approach. But this approach is too technocratic and too rigid. And then the next one, a postmodern approach. So actually postmodern approach is largely extends the humanistic approach. So that's why a postmodern approach focuses more on the theory application rather than the practical applications, because postmodern approach is only the development of humanistic approach. And then the weaknesses of this approach is lack of practical implementations. And then the strength is because this approach focuses more on theory application. That's why it brought greater diversity. Okay, and then for the next topic, we are going to discuss about definition of curriculum, and it will be explained by Mbak Mia.
About the definition of curriculum, we will learn about 4 kinds of curriculum, but before that, the way we define curriculum reflect our approach to it. So when we have different definition, when we believe different definition, then the curriculum that we will make will also be different. The first one is curriculum as a plan for achieving goals. So it's a plan. That's why the followers are usually the behaviorists and also the managerial system people, because the curriculum will be very organized, including steps, instructions, and also focus on the goals. But it also said that it will be continually adjusted. The next one is curriculum as dealing with the learner's experiences. And the followers of the definition are the humanistic and the elementary school curricularists, because it depends on the experiences inside and outside the classes. It's also flexible because when the government or the school has a plan, the teacher can apply the curriculum in their own way. And it also includes the socio-psychological experiences, which means it includes the interaction between the students and also between the students and the teachers. The third one is curriculum as a field or study. The followers are the academics. It's related to the academic approach. So the characteristic, it is not so practical. It's very theoretical, and it includes historical, philosophical, and also social issues. The last one is curriculum in terms of subject matter or content. Usually, the U.S. school districts use this kind of curriculum. So when you are in the high school, you will be asked to choose what subject matter do you want to learn. Like is it art or is it science? That's why it focuses on a particular subject area. But most elementary and secondary school in that places, the curriculum is more general. The next one, after we know about the definition, there are also challenges of the definition. The experts usually still debate about the definition of the curriculum. They usually are neutral, both philosophically and politically. And also, the people who has more specific beliefs of a curriculum, of the definition of a curriculum, their curriculum will be more narrow. They will overlook the hidden curriculum or the experiences that happen outside the class. And it's also connected with the planned curriculum and the hidden curriculum. They will value the planned curriculum more than the unplanned and hidden curriculum. It will be explained more by Mbak Fia later on. And the next one is about the background issues for designing the field. There are 2 kinds of issues. The first one is the content or subject matter issues, and the second one is the issues about people. In the content of subject matter issues, we can think about what content will be inside the curriculum. Will it be about math or social science? And it can also be about the learning process inside the things and the portion of the subject area, how the focus will be, something like that. And about the issues about people, it will talk about what are the roles of the resources of the curriculum, or the roles of the teachers, students, and also the principals. And it helps the background of the issues, help the curricularists to plan, to apply, and also to evaluate the curriculum. The next one is about fundamental questions. So the functions of the fundamental questions are to help the researchers and the curriculum designer to raise the background issues. And also it is become the guide to design the curriculum. It's not a rule, but it is a guide so that the designer know where to go and what to design. And the next one, the questions. What are the fundamental questions? It starts from the definition. Which definition do you want to use? And the philosophy, which philosophy do you want to use? And the social or political forces that you want to use. And the domains, what are the major parts of the curriculum, how the changes will be, and what are the roles of the curriculum specialist teachers or the students, and how will we organize the curriculum, and until how will it be instructed, and how is the supervision and the evaluation. And the last one is about the foundation of curriculum. After we know about the background issues that we can find about the curriculum and the fundamental questions, we will have the foundation of the curriculum. It is to prevent too broad curriculum, because some curriculums uses too many sources that it will not unite and it will be bland. And we need to limit the sources for designing the curriculum. And the limitation or the commonly accepted foundations that we can use inside the curriculum are the philosophical, historical, psychological, and social areas, plus the globalization and technology, because in this globalization, in this era, we experience the globalization. That's why we need technology to help us in the learning process, like flipped classroom or open resources from the internet. And that's about the foundation of curriculum. The next one will be explained by Mbak Fia.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Mia. And now I'm going to explain about curriculum domain. So if curriculum's foundation represent the curriculum external boundaries, then curriculum domain will represent the curriculum's internal boundaries or the field's internal boundaries. Or in another word, it is the accepted knowledge within the field presented in published articles or books. But however, there are some disagreement on curriculum's knowledge domains, and this lack of consensus are illustrated by the curriculum specialists themselves. And however, it is still very important to establish a framework for conceptualizing the domains of curriculum. Why? Because the framework will be necessary to conduct a research and make theoretical and practical decision about the curriculum. Next. And next is about curriculum development. Again, now, curriculum development is one of the most crucial thing in any curriculum text. The idea is to show how curriculum is planned, implemented, and evaluated in constructing the curriculum. And then nowadays, there are development and plan terms are usually used in curriculum texts. Why? Because all these development models attempt to show the relationship between the curriculum itself to various decisions, activities, and process. It's like a guidepost. However, such models tend to ignore the process that are not easily observed, such as emotion, attitudes, feelings, and beliefs happening during the teaching and learning process. And next. And next is curriculum design. Curriculum design refers to the refers on the way how we conceptualize the curriculum and arrange its major components. So to make it easier, just just imagine a painter. So when a painter wants to paint the painting, she or he will try to imagine how the end products will look like. And that applies the same with curriculum design. So it will help the curriculum writers to provide them a direction or guidance as they develop the curriculum. So yeah, it's to provide a basic frame or reference for planning. However, every curriculum writers have their own view of the curriculum. So for example, those who view teaching and learning in primarily psychological terms present different curriculum designs than those who view it in social or political terms. And yeah, so it is based on the curricularist beliefs and values about education. Next, Mbak. And next is planned and unplanned curriculum. Next. Okay, so planned curriculum is the document version or the documents that shape the content to be covered when teaching. So it's the formal version of the curriculum. And usually it translates the school's goals into the subject that students are expected to learn, and yeah, the measured objective and also the subjects assigned reading. And unplanned curriculum is the unwritten, unofficial, and often unintended lessons, values, and perspectives that students learn in school. So usually unplanned curriculum arise from the interaction in the teaching and learning process. Next. Next is operational curriculum. Operational curriculum is a curriculum that results of the actual situation and requires that teachers make adjustments as needed. So for example, there is something going on that is outside of the planned curriculum, then the teachers need to make some adjustments at the class. And then the next is hidden curriculum. Hidden curriculum arises from interactions among students and between students and teachers. So for example, like while listening to the teacher's explanation, some students might have opinion on their head, opinion or questions, and it is, we can call it as hidden curriculum. Next. And then also according to Eisner, there are implicit curriculum and the null curriculum. So implicit curriculum is what school teaches as having cognitive and social value. So it's what the schools want to teach the students. And then the null curriculum is what omitted content and values. Like for example, the public school curriculum generally avoids topics dealing with death, sex, and spirituality. So usually this kind of topic will be omitted from the curriculum. Usually school only want to teach agreeable content to the students because they want to produce the students as a producer, not a thinker. Next. Next is theory and practice. Theory is the most advanced views within a field, and usually theory help to the field's framework and help researchers and practitioners in analyzing and synthesizing the data, and then also organize concepts and principles and suggest new ideas and relations and speculate about the future. And then good curriculum theory is able to describe and explains the concepts, principles, and relationship that exist within the field. And also, we need to try to incorporate theory to be systemic in their approach and to establish worthwhile practices. However, it is however, it is impossible to fully predict educational outcomes because curriculum involves judgments, hunches, and insights that are not always conductive to laws, principles, or generalization. Next. Okay, so from theory to practice. The test of good theory is whether it can guide practice, and vice versa. Good practice is based on the theory. And then theories should be workable for practitioners, make sense, have explanatory power, and be applicable to the real world of classroom and schools. And then next. However, the problem is most curricularists, including those who write textbooks, have difficulty in combining the theory and practice. Many theoreticians ignore the practitioners and many practitioners ignore the theoretician because usually they have different agendas and it's quite hard for them to meet at this one point. Yeah, for example, theoretician think that this theory is the best way to conduct the teaching and learning process. However, the practitioners feel like it's better to, or it's practical to do it this way in the real world. Okay, and next is curriculum certification. Okay, so curriculum certification is like an endorsement or license. But however, curriculum lacks of certification. There is no such test or something similar like that for curricularists to take before declared as a curricularist. And yeah, that's why curriculum jobs are not well defined and there are few certification requirements or license. So whoever take the educational class, they can be a curricularist. There is no such test. For example, like doctor, they need to take some test to officially declare as doctor. So there is no such thing in curriculum. Yeah. And next is I'm going to explain about the roles of the curriculum workers.
Right, thank you, Mbak Fia. Now we're going to discuss about the roles of the curriculum worker. Next. What does it mean? It means that anyone who is involved in curriculum development, implementation, or evaluation is a curriculum worker. The term curriculum worker covers various educators. Next, there are 4 types of curriculum worker. The first one is the curriculum supervisor. It usually consists of a chairperson or principal, and they work at the school level. The second one is a curriculum leader. It can be a supervisor or administrator. The third one is a curriculum coordinator who leads a program at the school district, regional, or state level. The program they lead usually a special government funded program such as math or English program. The last one is a curriculum specialist. It is a technical consultant from the district, regional, or state department of education. It provides advice in classes, meetings, conferences, or staff session. Next. Right, curriculum development. Most of school districts depend on teachers and supervisors to develop curriculum. Parents are also included in many curriculum committees at the school level. However, only large school districts can afford to have a curriculum department with a full staff or specialist. Next, there are 12 curriculum worker responsibilities. 1, develop technical method. 2, blend theory with practice. It means that they have to apply it in the real world. The focus is on practical or life experiences. 3, agree on what is involved in curriculum. 4, strengthen the relationships among curriculum standards, instruction, and supervision. 5, be a change agent. It means that they have to balance the demands and views of the local community. 6, create a goal statement to provide direction and focus behavior in the organization. 7, be open to new curriculum trends. 8, develop skill in human relationships and in working with individuals or groups. 9, push colleagues to solve problems. It means that they have to innovate, become familiar with and use new program and ideas. 10, develop a program for continuous curriculum development, implementation, and evaluation. 11, balance different subject areas and grade level and integrate them into a total curriculum. And 12, understand current research in teaching and learning. Next. All right, the student's role. There are experts that said the student's role is important, while some said that it is not important. Why? Let's see. Curriculum is a plan for learning. Curriculum making should start with diagnosing what students need. Kilpatrick and Rux said that students' involvement is important. Peter Olivia also feels that students should participate in curriculum development. However, Dewey said that the students' involvement is not important because the students would express interest in certain topics in order to please their teachers. So it was teachers' responsibility to plan and implement curriculum and to be aware of what students want and students need. Thus, the author stated that students' role in curriculum planning should be limited to providing information because they are not expert or professionals. Next. This is the relationship between the teacher and the curriculum and the principal and the curriculum. Let's see the first one, teacher and the curriculum. Teacher plays a major role. Teacher should be involved in every phase of curriculum making because they are primary group in the curriculum development. Teacher bring the curriculum to life through instruction. The diverse methods of instruction will shape how students receive the curriculum. Although the principal should be a leader in curriculum and instruction, there is disagreement regarding the principal's specific roles. Blathern said that principal hold important roles. However, teachers do not see curriculum instructional leadership as principal major responsibility. Somehow, teachers believe that principals are incapable of providing leadership and teachers do not want principal assistance. So, principal look for assistant principal or chairperson to fulfill the responsibilities of curriculum, instruction, and program development. Next. Teachers, individual and collective thinking about curriculum content and what is worth teaching and how it should be taught has diminished because the state have mandated curriculum standards and high stakes testing. An educator must refrain from gaming the system. It means that teaching towards the task, cooking result, and manipulating which students take the exam. Teachers must also defend themselves from being bullied or pressured into unethical behavior because of the consequence of the exam and the fear at possibly losing their jobs. So in conclusion, next. The readers can focus on approaches and definition, foundation, and domains, and theory and practice of curriculum and instructions, because nobody can fully integrate the fields of curriculum. This is the quote of the day. The whole purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows. Thank you. We are Group 1. Goodbye.